Guys, here we go. I needed to increase my time here real quick, so we're gonna go ahead and increase my time here, and with this how we're gonna do it by me talking about all my Instagram or my social platforms. So we got God underscore, that's my Instagram for the people that are over there. Now we got an app that I do not use. Go down. Okay, I thought it froze on me. I'll come back. I don't even use this. I don't think it'll even be worth. Let me go ahead and do it. Where's my name at? Cancel. And here we go. That's right there for anyone that wants to, follow me on this baddie boy. I'm just needing something to burn this time, and this would be the perfect way. Now, let's off and go here. Let's see here. Facebook. Don't use Facebook as often as I use the other stuff. But there's me right there. And then the last one, the beast of them all, Tumblr. Tumblr, Twitter. Right there. Yeah, I don't even use this. I haven't used this bad boy in a minute. I gotta update all the people I'm following. Got people that I don't even care for and stuff like that. So yeah, besides that, I've probably said it. I'm saying it again. Enjoy, like, scub, everything. I love y'all. Hey guys, I'm in the middle of gaming right now. I'm not streaming or anything. By the time you see this, I'm not sure I will be. I don't think I will be, but I'm not gonna show my face after we get done with this part. I just want to quickly announce that I'm not going to. Well, disclaimer: I'm not going to be showing my face on these next videos because this was before I did that. So if I say I'm doing this or doing this, just know if anything sounds weird, it's due to that simple fact. Also, I would like to just throw out a couple things there. If y'all want me to do any other movies of my previous what ifs, I can. I'm doing this one because I'm gonna try to get my Minecraft series to pop up a little bit, and also I want to really talk about my Twitch. Please come by, BossDK23. Subscribe. I'm working on other stuff on there. I'm working on playing like Fortnite, PUBG, maybe Roll Company, Apex for sure. So yeah, I just really hope y'all enjoy that. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting nothing else, cause this is like I only got so much time before. That's why I'm like besides that, I really do appreciate the support. Like Apple, FBI, First Last, Banana, Multiverse. I like really appreciate the support I be getting on my streams too. Y'all people really do be stopping by, showing your boy love. And that's pretty much all I could think of. So I hope y'all enjoy the video. Next time, if this does get a lot of views, I'm going to put a little more extra love and a little more care on it. So I hope y'all enjoy. And you see me paying PUBG. Catch y'all later. Oh, hey, don't forget to like my stuff, bro. Y'all be making me mad because I'll be getting views, but nobody be like, like my stuff. I'm not going to punch you or anything. I just really need you to like my shit. Alright, now this series is going to take a little bit longer for two reasons. One, the videos are going to be shorter so I can get out more content, so the people that have forgot about me for good reason remember me, and for the people that haven't discovered me yet, can see me. Also, this particular what if is going to be a unique one because it's going to be a full circle what if. It's not actually going to have anything to do with my hero for a good chunk of it. But anyways, let's get into it real quick. What if Deku had the Minecraft quirk? But there's more than just that. Long ago, there was a dude. No recollection of who or what he was. For the sake of the story, so y'all don't be too confused. This is Deku. But he's not Deku right now. He wakes up. He's in the middle of nowhere. Distorted. Confused. Eventually gets up. Walks around in a fog, in a daze, doesn't know what to do, where he's at, what's going on, none of it. Anyways, so he does this. Eventually, he decides to get some wood together. When he does this, he realizes you just punch some wood and just... Why is it everything square? He doesn't know why or how he knows this, but he knows this isn't how things are supposed to be. He scratches his head a little bit, slightly confused, swearing he remembers something else. And he keeps hearing this really loud ringing. But no matter. He just says, alright. He says, F it, keeps it moving. So, after some time has passed and some things have went down, he's made him a little humble abode, if you may. Got a little tiny wooden house, oak wood, you know, or the dark one. I think that's the dark one. Anyways, he's got a decent looking Minecraft house, alright. Nothing you would write home about, but better than your dirt block. And so with that being said, Deku's like, alright. Well, he's not Deku here. Here, he's Steve. Steve the Minecraft guy. What Steve does is simple. He just lives. Nothing's happened. He's been isolated for a long time, but he would have fell into a tragic loneliness, but he eventually had his wits about him. Found some old notebooks about the past people and the people that have been here in the past, the ancient people. And he's like, oh, there's people that's been here before? There's people before me? Huh. Okay. So he gets real kind of almost excited. He's got a dog. He's got his cat. And the areas he were at were always fairly lit. What I mean by this is simple. He went to sleep at night. He just instinctively knew to cut down cut down llamas and sheeps and cows and stuff. But as he kept reading these ancient books full of so much wisdom, they told him of the horrors at night. A green entity with no arms. And you only know when he's near after you hear it, but by then all you hear is sss, and then you're dead. It leaves a crater, a mountain, in the hole. Then there's another one, a tall, darkish, blackish figure, known to teleport and distorted chin when it's aggravated and angry. Next, a fallen soldier, someone from the ancient towns, who knows? But armed with a bow, an infinite amount of arrows for some fucking reason, but when I kill him, he doesn't give me any arrows, but with infinite armor. Sometimes with armor, sometimes with not. Some people say that
zombies aren't real. Some people say that the skeletons, as they call them, used to be zombies before the zombies lost their flesh. Who knows? But there are many different types of zombies, and even children can be affected. He's hearing all these horrors and thinks, no, this can't be true. I've never seen such things. But he does remember his first few nights hearing things in the background, screams in the distance. And that's pretty much where we're going to leave off this part. I hope y'all liked it. If you like it, like it. If you didn't like it, like it. I'm black. Alright, now this series is going to take a little bit longer for two reasons. One, the videos are going to be shorter so I can get out more content, so the people that have forgot about me for good reason can remember me, and for the people that haven't discovered me yet can see me. Also, this particular what if is going to be a unique one because it's going to be a full circle what if. It's not actually going to have anything to do with my hero for a good chunk of it. But anyways, let's get into it real quick. What if Deku had the Minecraft quirk? But there's more than just that. Long ago, there was a dude. No recollection of who or what he was. For the sake of the story, so y'all don't be too confused, this is Deku. But he's not Deku right now. He wakes up. He's in the middle of nowhere. Distorted. Confused. Eventually gets up. Walks around in a fog, in a daze, doesn't know what to do, where he's at, what's going on, none of it. Anyways, so he does this. Eventually, he decides to get some wood together. When he does this, he realizes you just punch some wood and just... Why is it everything square? He doesn't know why or how he knows this, but he knows this isn't how things are supposed to be. He scratches his head a little bit, slightly confused, swearing he remembers something else. And he keeps hearing this really loud ringing. But no, mother. He just says, alright. He says, F it, keeps it moving. So, after some time has passed and some things have went down, he's made him a little humble abode, if you may. Got a little tiny wooden house, oak wood, you know, or the dark one. I think that's the dark one. Anyways, he's got a decent looking Minecraft house, alright? Nothing you would write home about, but better than your dirt block. And so with that being said, Deku's like, alright. Well, he's not Deku here. Here, he's Steve. Steve the Minecraft guy. What Steve does is simple. He just lives. Nothing's happened. He's been isolated for a long time, but he would have fell into a tragic loneliness, but he eventually had his wits about him. Found some old notebooks about the past people and the people that have been here in the past, the ancient people. And he's like, oh, there's people that's been here before? There's people before me? Huh. Okay. So he gets real kind of almost excited. He's got a dog. He's got his cat. And the areas he were at were always fairly lit. What I mean by this is simple. He went to sleep at night. He just instinctively knew to cut down cut down llamas and sheeps and cows and stuff. But as he kept reading these ancient books full of so much wisdom, They told him of the horrors at night. A green entity with no arms. And you only know when he's near after you hear it, but by then all you hear is sss, and then you're dead. It leaves a crater, a mountain, in the hole. Then there's another one, a tall, darkish, blackish figure, known to teleport and distorted chin when it's aggravated and angry. Next, a fallen soldier, someone from the ancient towns, who knows? But armed with a bow, an infinite amount of arrows for some fucking reason, but when I kill him, he doesn't give me any arrows, but with infinite armor. Sometimes with armor, sometimes with not. Some people say that zombies aren't real. Some people say that the skeletons, as they call them, used to be zombies before the zombies lost their flesh. Who knows? But there are many different types of zombies, and even children can be affected. He's hearing all these horrors. He thinks, no, this can't be true. I've never seen such things. But he does remember his first few nights hearing things in the background. Screams in the distance. And that's pretty much where we're going to leave off this part. I hope y'all liked it. If you like it, like it. If you didn't like it, like it. I'm black. What if Deku had Minecraft? What if Deku had a Minecraft quirk? Part 2. We left off last time on what ifs. Talking about these creepy crawlers, these dark things that lurk in the shadows and lurk in the night. But it couldn't be true, Steve said to himself. This is impossible. How would such a thing be even possible? There's no way a thing like that could really exist, right? These figment of imagination. But before too much was said and before too much was done, there was an elder guy. They came through and saved man from a lot of issues and anguish. He's known as Notch, the god of all gods, at least in this domain. Notch was on his last breaths and on his last heart, as some may say. One moment. And so, with this dying breath, he will help Steve. Deku. But not in any other way. But we just talked about how they met. We just talked about them knowing each other. We need to talk about how these guys met. Sometime prior to this. Deku after Steve. Oh no, I'm breaking character. Steve, after realizing, that he's gonna have to go out because he forgot to tell his dog to come on. And he left some valuable food away. He needed to go grab it. And he was ambushed. Zombies out of the wazoo. With only his sword. With only a wooden sword. Maybe an axe. He tries to fight them off. He fights some zombies off. Blood gets everywhere. He gets shot by a skeleton. Takes one to the chin. Not really the chin, but just takes the hit. After taking that one, things couldn't even get worse. It started raining. Dazed, confused, trying to fight off. But it wasn't any ordinary rain. It was a thunder rain. Thunder shouts and crackles throughout the skies. Steve is scared. He doesn't know what to do. But with his sword, in the makeshift shield he was able to make, he stands his ground, fighting off these defenders. Fighting off these creatures. He didn't see the dark, tall figure, but he was on the lookout for it. He was fighting as much as he could. He was tired. He was getting hungry. He couldn't fully move. And then it happened. The worst possible thing that could ever happen. Thunder started crackling everywhere. You could feel the ground sizzling from each hit. You know those green entities with no arm? They got struck by lightning, and instead of dying, they had emitted this immense blue aura. And Deku knew if he got hit, or if he came in the radius of that thing, he wouldn't live any longer. I like how I keep switching from Steve and Deku. Like, I want to stay in character, but it just doesn't work. So as he's running, but he trips. He can't run no more. He knows that this charged creeper is coming up for him. There's nothing he can do about it. But then he hears a noise like no other. A chuckle. Boy seen his first charged creeper. Two individuals peer out. Yeah, I'm doing it. I couldn't resist. DK and Notch. Look at this dude. First charge creeper. Pulls out a crossbow. Even better. I'll do one better. Doesn't even pull out crossbow. Grabs the individual, places glass down like it's almost magic. Surrounds the thing around with glass. All right. I'm gonna capture it. I'm not gonna remember Notch, so I'm gonna call him. Instead of Notch, we'll have him known as Big Tough. No, that's weird. I'm trying to think of a random name. We'll call him Charles. So DK and Charles came to help out Deku. Steve, we'll just say the names. So they meet up and they teach Deku everything he needs to know about how to survive the night and all that type of stuff. But I can't go on any further because this is where the video ends. I know I said, like, what if Deku had a Minecraft quirk, but that'll make sense in the future. But for the time being, in the videos will be different, but I'll just say, what if Deku, you'll see the title, all right? Damn. Anyways, this is part 3. And now this is a very convoluted way of going about telling the story, but it's kind of like one of those, you got to go with a full circle. So when you make it's like, you know those shows, how they be like, you may be one, well, hold up. I got to do this justice. Don't worry. This won't take too much out of the time. I'm sitting here with my katana down on the ground, and they're like, you may be wondering how I got here. Let me explain to you. So it's kind of like one of those. But enough with me talking and bullshitting with y'all. Let's get straight into the video. So this is right after Deku learned how to do enchantments and potion brewing. And so basically this went on for years, really, honestly. So DK and Tough, Charles, that's what we called them, Charles. So basically two black dudes was teaching Deku how to fight and how to do things. So they're out here training and stuff, and it's really unique. And then so Deku's asking all sorts of questions. He's like, what is this world? And they two looked at each other. DK knew the answer but couldn't say it. He's like, listen, kid. Listen, kid. There's one person that knows more information than we do, but we can't really talk about men. But see, the crazy thing about all this is, during their time together, they've conquered different lands. Like they've saved a village from being raided. They have went to an underwater temple and claimed the lives of people down there. They found loot and items from a shipwreck. They have found different treasure items and all sorts of things, you know? So they're just finding all sorts of loot. Deku went from being a little scrawny, chubby, not chubby, but scrawny little kid to being someone that knew what he wanted. And then so Deku's like, all right, they even went down mining and stuff, like deep down underground looking for items and minerals and that type of stuff. It got dangerous at one point in time, which Charles was very, very, what's the word for it? Not looking too good, because they were working on a device system. They called it a monster spawner, because it makes these creatures like to appear under certain conditions. But with their capabilities, DK and Charles, they thought they could, you know, capitalize on this and make it to where they're able to force breed almost. It's kind of like force breeding, but with the natural effects. So if darkness emerges in a certain spot for an extended period of time, guess what? So they thought, you know, if we can kill a large amount of these things, we'll have a lot of materials. And everything did go fine. They just had a couple bumpy bits on the road. Like, for example, when they almost did it, they encased the breeder or a hive of poisonous cave spiders. They did struggle for a while, but eventually they did perfect the technique. So now they're with Deku. It's easy. They're doing it like it's no problem at all. It's like, oh, this is easy. This is light work, my friend. But if you thought this was interesting or thought this was amazing or something to that effect, it gets worse. Because they're like, I think we should teach little man about potion brewing. DK's like, I mean, if you want to. So they told Deku to go grab a certain number of the obsidian material. Deku's like, all right. He's like, place it in this manner. He said, okay. Light it. With the what? Pulls out a lighter. Flint still. Oh. An immense power, immense energy was released from this whole new dimension. Deku was like, huh? What is this? What is this? Big tough. DK. They looked. You might want to go grab your loot, kid. We're going to hell. Huh? And so, after they got their armor, protection armor, they do know how to enchant. They really haven't taught this kid how to increase the capability of his armor or how to enhance it yet. He knows like the bare bones. Like he knows he needs a special material called lapis lazuli. He also knows he needs to blend together a combination of that weird Ascendian stuff with diamond minerals. So he knows if he has this combination, he'll be able to create a center of basically a control center. So he's able to affect these things. Yeah. But they hop through the portal. Deku was very, very shocked. So he's very confused, like, what's going on? Who are you people? And so he's like, yeah, buddy. You might want to get up. Haven't been here in a minute. Charles looks at DK and says, you ain't never lied. And so the journey begins once again with these boys going crazy, go stupid. And so they're out there trying to get stuff, and eventually they find a cave. And then, not a cave, but a fortress. And they're like, All right, let's get it. They get in the fortress, and they see these fire entities shooting fireballs of mass proportion. What will they do? What if Deku was in Minecraft? Let's get it. All right, so basically, we are gonna keep it short and simple. These dudes, last time on What Ifs, Deku and his companions entered a place known as Hell, or they called it the Nether. They were very confused and very puzzled. Well, not them, more Deku, but fastly and quickly they took to it and went back to doing what they always did. Explored, killed stuff, and kept it moving. You're continuing the journey now. All right, so with that out of the way, and that was my attempt at an intro, we're pretty much like, so with them being where they're at, they fought a thing called a wither. That thing was very weird because it took more damage, like it hit them, and then they started to bleed out, but not bleed out. It was very weird, but they were able to fight off this floating fireball of death, whatever that was. They were able to find its hive, and eventually they was gonna use it to, cultivate and what's the word for it? Milk it, but they had to place down as many torches as possible because both of them, well, everybody was near death. DK eventually was like, wait, guys, hey, do y'all hear something? Charles. Oh. That shouldn't be happening right now, right? Uh-huh. DK. Deku. Guys. What's going on? Cobblestone around both Charles and DK. Looks at before they patch themselves off, looks at Deku. Good luck, buddy. Out comes this white, ghostish like figure, giant. You could say it's about 10 feet in each diameter. Shoots out a blaze of fire or hot energy, whatever it was. It was destructive. Deku was able to defend it off and fight it back, but how many was them? It was all you hear is poof, 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 poof. Sometime later, after drinking an inconsiderable amount of potions that no one ever questioned, but they just had a large storage system inside themselves where they could just hold things like an inventory. Anywho, so after that happened, he talks to them. So what the hell was that? So nobody wanted to warn me. They looked to their beaten up weapons and beaten up outfit. Do it look like we're in helping condition? Drinking the fire resistant potion. We are barely alive here ourselves. Wait, what did we come here? We're low on potions, DK exclaims. Charles, you're low on potions. Who makes your potions? That's what I thought. Anyways, we're almost there. So eventually they get there. And then okay, on a side note real quick, am including the newest update of Minecraft. So basically, you know how they have like biomes now in the Nether and you can live in there and stuff? I'm gonna include just a little bit of that because I think it'll add perfect context to it. That's pretty much it. All right, makes sense? Okay. So as they're walking around and stuff, they just see how weird everything looks. Blue flames. It seems like this place has its own habitats and its own life. And then Deku doesn't realize it in time, but next thing you know, he's being impaled by a boar, or similar to that pig zombie thing that they encountered earlier, but a lot more aggressive and a lot more stronger. But Deku was confused. Why is he the only one getting attacked? But as he looks back to his companions, he sees they have golden armor upon their heads. He's like, huh? Wait a minute. He's like, yeah. Why are y'all not telling me any of this? Once again, we forgot ourselves. We're almost there. So as Deku fights off this boar humanoid creature, kills it, takes its flesh and a golden nugget, a drop, whatever. They keep it moving. They move forward. No questions asked. And yeah, so with them moving forward and doing what they're doing, they keep going, and eventually they find the material they need for potion brewing. And I'm gonna just break character because the video is about to end here. But yeah, that I forgot what it was called again. I don't remember if it's like nether warts or netherracks or something like that. But yeah, that's what they find. Yeah. Last time on Bosses What Ifs, Deku and friends were entering a hellish-like portal, and they were trying their very best to get out. Stay tuned. See what happens next. Alright, okay, so listen, this is what happened. Deku is running, alright, bro. They're like, we got this stuff, now let's get out while we still can. So eventually they're walking around for what feels like forever. They're getting kind of dry on their few amount of potions. And so let's just put it in this sense of parameters. They're like, yeah, we're getting kind of low on potions, man. For real? Yeah, that might be a problem. They were swimming in lava. It was sadly the fastest way to get back to where they need to be. So before their potions run out, and before they all burned to death, they pretty much found this weird looking structure. They went in the structure. They had to fight off those creatures. They eventually just called them blazes. Those things were a hassle to fight. Some of those white ghost giants figures appeared. They were able to fight those off too and got a good bit of loot from the structure. In the overall arcing area, everything was good. Everything was Skittles and rainbows. Or so you would think. Later on, once they thought they got out, they realized something. Their portal is all the way over there. They're all the way over here. Not a big deal. They got a straight path right there. But earlier, Deku did kind of hit. He was fighting this humanoid pig thing. There were two types. One always carried a golden sword, and there was another type. We don't talk about the other type. You can actually tame that one. It's not humanoid. It's really, really confusing. They're so confused down there. Since Deku did that, they're all aggroed, and they have a mind hive. If you attack one of us, you'll attack all of us. So you must die. So now, Deku has to charge on, and since his homies can't let him just charge on his own, they basically say, you got it, good luck, catch you later, wish you the very best, see you tomorrow. And then they both sprint like madmen. But I mean, before they leave, they do leave him a couple parting gifts. Potion of power, potion of swiftness, and a potion of extra smite. And with that, he went from Deku to Deku. And he maliciously folded every single one of them with no remorse and ate their corpse like it was a freshly made pizza. And eventually walked to the portal. Everybody was like, alright, we're good. The portal's only 10 more steps. So let's get out of here. Then all they hear is 5 of those ghost of those ghost-like things. Off topic, I really don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. It just doesn't click with me. Goosh and Gosh. The white ghost thingies. All right, damn. 5 of them appear, and they just start raining down hellfire. They're able to, for the most part, protect the portal. Meanwhile, DK is trying to, with the quickness, put up some cobblestone. But he wasn't able to because he actually got hit off and almost fell into some lava. He was able to catch himself, but when he fell down, he was swinging his sword, trying to not fall down, but he ended up hitting a pigman. So he had to end up fighting about 5 pigmen by himself. While he's doing this, Charles and Deku are fighting the ghost figures. Let's just say this is not gonna end well. Due to the simple fact is they're fighting. They're able to take the numbers down. The 5 went to 4, and then the 4 went to 3. We're doing good, okay? And then, but strangely enough, they started acting more intelligent. So instead of just shooting one really strong fireball, they'll shoot a lot of tiny bitty itty ones, and a lot in a rapid succession. This wasn't the move, and this wasn't working or doing any good for anyone. They ran out of fire resistant potions, so they're taking the full blunt of this, and it hurts. Hurts a lot. Everyone's getting kind of scared. DK just barely managed to defeat most of those pigments. He was able to kick most of them into the lava. With his armor beaten and bruised, he can't help with the fight, so it's either they're going to do it or they're not. As he slowly limps towards the portal. Beaten, he's crawling basically. Will he make it to the portal? What will Deku and Charles do? Find out on the next episode of What Ifs. Last time on What Is. Charles, DK, and Deku were all trapped in the nether. Confused, lost, and straggled. DK managed to, yes, he managed to beat 10 pigments all by himself, threw most of them in the lava, was able to make it. Now he's slowly but surely crawling into the portal. Charles and Deku are defending the portal as they speak. What will happen? Stay tuned and find out on this episode of What If. Alright, now we're back into the video, boys. DK barely is making it into the portal. The cobblestone that was protecting it actually protected it from the opposite side that he's coming from. He's limping. He's making it. Deku and Charles are doing it. You know how Deku took all those potions? They're wearing off. Charles actually took a good fair bit of potions himself, or so we thought, but he forgot to pick them up when they were at the place grabbing all the loot, so he actually left some potions behind because he likes to forget things. Charles. Anywho, DK basically was about to go straight in the portal, but mustered up some last-ditch willpower, grabs an arrow, holds it back, aims, and shot. And he's able to take one goosh out. Yeah, gas out. And they only left 2. For whatever reason, they kept getting worse. And it's just the less they were, the more intelligent they were. But eventually, Charles said, I've had enough. Who decided you get to mess with me? Grabs Trident out of nowhere, which we presume he, even in this heated moment, DK, Deku looked at each other. Didn't say a word, but all nodded. You forgot he had that, didn't he? And he flings it, successfully hitting it. But since they didn't have this special enchantment of loyalty, it's not coming back. Yeah, that might be a problem because they still got one more and everyone's out of everything. And so this isn't looking good at all. They all simultaneously say fuck it and just start crawling toward the portal. DK does. Deku will charge and start booking it. DK gets in and it's like it's about to teleport him. He's like, all right, good. My homies are coming with me. Yeah, this is about to be a breeze. And then as he's slowly going in, he's in, and then he hears, and he's immediately pops out back to the overworld, amongst the world of hell, or the world of not hell, I guess. And he realizes something. The portal, it's inactive. And he told Charles, hey, make sure you bring some flint and steel. And now just a question in the ease any of the minds. Why did DK not just do it, right? Or Deku, right? Deku's out mining for minerals. DK, on the other hand, was trying to make sure the perimeter was safe and controlled and make sure everything was properly light. Because if you don't light things, bad things come out for you. So with all this being said and all this being done, it got worse. Because DK realized something. They're trapped there with no materials. And they have to live there for whoever knows how long. He's too beat up to make it back home because they had a very long journey on boat. And he didn't teleport back to his base. He teleported back somewhere else, so there might have been some complications. We do got to take into account that this is unidimensional travel with a couple of stones and some fire, so there might be some complications. So maybe they got the coordinates wrong and ended up in a different location, but no matter. He finds a abandoned village and was able to make some stuff, seize the villagers. Some of them have been captured and forced to stay in their houses. Not a big deal. Finds a potion of healing, drinks it up. Everything goes. DK's thinking he's all right. Then he sees a tall female. Looks at him, says, how's it going? It's like, it's going good. No. Sees a witch with her potions, just menacing looking at him. It's like, I can take one witch. I think this sword got just enough juice. I can do it. Who said anything about one witch? Looks around, sees 5 witches behind him. Why am I always getting jumped? He thinks to himself. Then he sees off in the distance a house, woodland mansion. He realizes something. He's spawned in a very bad area. He's screwed. But before that, he doesn't waver. He says, fuck it. He pulls out his blade, sparks it up, pulls out his shield, and just says, you know what? I'm ready. Let's go. Now, before I get into the video intro and the video, I would like all of y'all to, one, like the video, sub. Thank y'all for viewing the videos. I know 15 seconds is like pretty much the give or take for when people leave or not. But listen, go to my Instagram. It is God_DK. And very simple. I'll save some of y'all the trouble and I'll make sure to put that in the description. I'm not going to go back and do that on all my previous videos, but I will start advertising that more because I do want y'all to be, I do want us to have a little more of on par levelry. Don't worry, this won't take into the video. I also do, if I ever start lacking or whatever, I do want y'all to be like, hey, don't stop now. Like, this is kind of like a two-way street here because I kind of be like, what's the point? And then y'all sit there and be like, where's the videos? Where's the videos, dog? So, yes, God, just God_DK. Y'all just got to go down to the description box. Or as I like to call it, the information box. But with that being said, let's get into the intro and let's get into the video. Wait, I kind of messed that up. Hold up. Last time on Boss's What If, DK just got out of a portal, realizing that he was in not such a good situation. All of his armor was down and bruised and beat up and battered. But He did not waver. He knew where he was, but he didn't fully know the severity of the situation. Realizing he was surrounded by witches in a mansion like no other, he knew he had to fight, so he did. And him, he's all alone, but he had a mission. Also, Charles and Deku, they're off stranded, all about trapped in a whole nother dimension. Will DK get back in time to save them? What will happen to them? What are they doing? Find out on this episode of Bosses What Ifs. DK panting frantically, running through a forest. And by this time, it's dark. Monsters are coming out left and right. Spiders, 10 feet tall, giant beasts, zombies in armor, maliciously coming from with weapons of all caliber, skeletons with purple glowing armor. They're all strong, too strong. Realizing that his supply of food is running low, realizing he has no potion, no means of healing himself besides nourishment and substance, he runs and goes for the only thing he can think of. He sees a raid captain. He knows when they die, they emit something masked and powerful, a bad omen effect. So he says to himself, I must use this to my advantage. Unlike Deku and Charles, he didn't get an enchantment that was beneficial to him. He has an enchantment on his weapons known as mending. This allows the essence and souls of anything and everything he kills to be a part of him and becomes a part of his weapon, thus allowing the life and expectancy of his weapon to, in theory and theoretically, be immortal. But he was able to do this, but it came to a downside. When he switched to his bow at hand, it didn't have infinite bows. So unlike everyone else, he had to carry stacks of arrows in his pocket. And this universe works slightly different because their pocket is known as an inventory space. They're only able to carry so many items. Armor and items as such, or things that entities like such as skeletons and zombies and the creepers. Some things are stacked where you can hold more than one due to the lightweightness, but when it's heavier, it's hard to compact these things. But he knew if he started a raid, he can get something. But he couldn't start one just yet because he was stuck running through the forest while it was nighttime. And he ran through a mansion, fighting and stopping this mansion, or fighting in the mansion, which took some time, but due to the superior enchantments and weaponry and tactic, he was able to trap most of the raids and most of the people in there and get a couple of good items. Then, with the bad omen effect in play, in going about, he was able to take care of business. He defended the village. The village shouted him with glory and praise, and also threw loot at him, throwing items of wonderfulness, diamonds, emeralds, anything. You can name it all. He got it all. But this was a hollow, but yet fulfilling victory. He knew that he was the hero, but at what cost? He was able to protect most of the villagers, but some of them didn't make it through. He saw the roses on the ground and knew that the iron golem soldiers didn't make it through the fight. But he did say he will make some more. So he spent some of his time there, and he was able to get this item known as the Totem of Undying. With him being able to do such things, and with him being able to get these items together, he was able to basically prevent himself from dying. It extended his life expectancy just long enough. If he ever came close to dying, or rephrase, if he did die, he would survive just long enough to be able to rebound. And he said to himself, he will need this. So he spent his free time and his time protecting the village. He covered the area. He covered everything. He made sure these villagers would be protected even in his absence. He put down safety precautions. The villagers have intelligence, but their intelligence is very limited somehow. But he made sure he was going to protect them. Meanwhile, while he was staying, he used them to get food and made deals with other ones to increase his armory and to increase his capabilities. But he knew he couldn't stay there for long because, well, he needed to get moving and go to him. Regrettably, he was able to get all those supplies. He had a couple good nights sleep. He played around with the kids, watched them play around, but he had to find a horse. It took some time, it took some breeding, but he was able to find a horse that had good jumps, a good amount of sturdiness, and speed. Speed is the name of the game. Due to Charles forgetting to bring backup stuff. And DK does realize, though, something. He's thinking on how he met Charles. Last time on a Boss's What If, DK was able to make it out, fight those witches off, got a totem of Undying, fought at a Whirler Mansion, was able to make it, save the village, got a couple of unique items, a totem of dying to be more in detail with it. But now comes the bigger thing. He needs to set off. He needs to go get help from one man, not Notch, not Hero Brian. But while he's doing this, one thought, a few thoughts, but one thought predominates all over. What is happening to my friends, Deku and Charles? And how did he meet Charles? You know what? Find out on this episode of Boss's What Ifs. DK says, enough games. I gotta go. So he finds his steed. He selected breed it. He knows a couple of methods to fast produce. And he does them. With this being all in tow, DK scurries off as fast as his horse will carry him. With this being said, he's gone. He's going. He knows he has to go talk to that man. Not the hero known as Brian. Not Lord Notch. The one that knows all and is all. But Lord James. This man knows how to use electricity. Or as they call it in this universe, redstone. He knows how to do things most people are too scared to do. Or lack the intelligence to do. But not worrying about that and saving that more for the present moment. He thinks a little bit back to the past of how he met Charles E.D. Stewart. He remembered this, and this is how the story went. DK was on his world. Well, not on his world, but on a plane by himself. This is before the crash happened, or as they call it, the flood. He was doing everything he could. He took down a couple of things. He fought some great beast of mass proportion. He was able to fight an ender dragon, but wasn't able to successfully do it. He slaughtered many people that attempted to raid the village he lived in. He did many things. He actually had a lot going for him. And he was pretty set up. He had armor and everything. He slowly was learning the ways of enchantments. He pretty much had the gist. He pretty much had it. But he was learning, though. Learning is still all a part of all of this. He was able to make a decent structure. But then one day, on one of his journeys outwards, a little further than, in the unknown, trying to see how far does this world truly reach, he sees an individual, tall, dark, scruffy individual with a weird look in his eyes. Weary, DK does pull upon this man with a shield in hand and his iron sword in tow. He looks to the man and says, "Hey, you need some food, dog? Like you're looking kind of like you're a little hungry." With the quickness, the individual replies, "Yes, I'm starving. Like, please, like, come on." But DK realized that it would be night soon, so they made a little bunker in the cave, or as they called it at that time, a hidey hole. With this, they exchanged words like they were old brethren, like they knew each other for neons. And after a while, DK decided he's pretty cool. So he gave him a dog. He gave him a horse named Jumpy. And they went about what they were doing. And eventually, they actually worked together. And this man's name was Charles E.D. Stewart. And They actually fought many things together. They did many things. And when DK did attempt to refight the in dragon, he was successful this time with the aid of his friend. He was able to beat him with no questions. This opened a whole new plane of everything. But before he can do that, a man stood in his way, known as Lord James. This will be the continuation of how he met Charles. But we're done with that story. Now we diverge on the next parts of how he met Lord James and how they fought to take care of an entity known as the weather. It wasn't easy. It wasn't hard. Or let's say those with lack of words or useful words aren't the best means of describing this. But we'll talk about that on the next part. Charles and DK realized this man isn't no ordinary man. While they were just in plain iron armor, with no enchantments or no special upgrades, they realized something. This man, why is his diamond armor glowing purple? How strong is this dude? And why is he already not in just the inn, but the inn cities? Charles and DK took a while to get here. How is this man already here? They called out to him and says, how did you get here? The tall, big-boned figure pops out of the shadows and says, simple. You don't have to fight the end dragon to come to this lovely place. And to our shock, at this given time, the Enders didn't look him in the eye. He emitted a mass and intimidating presence. They knew that if they were to fight him, the likelihood of winning was minuscule at best. So they didn't. They actually tried to befriend this dude. And this is going to be how they meet. And where they go after this, it will be a treat, my friend. I hope y'all liked the video. Please sub and like. And don't forget, check out my Instagram, all right? It will be down in the little information box down below. But maybe you don't mind going on to your Instagram real quick. God_DK. No caps, no nothing. Just God_D and a K. Just D and K. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you. I do want y'all to check out my channel. I do want y'all to sub, but I do want y'all to check out my Instagram because I want to be more on there, because if I'm always having the constant reminder, like if people saying, hey, do this, whatever, hey, when are you making the next video? I know for a fact that there's at least somebody like, yeah, we need more of that content. So we'll work it out. We'll get her done. And see y'all on the next part of Bosses What Ifs. Last time on Bosses What Ifs. DK is scurrying off to meet an individual known as Lord James, but he has a fond memory as he rides through with a steed, thinking how fast and how high he can jump. It reminds him of some past experiences. So, who is Lord James, and why is he so intimidating? What makes him so strong? How does he have such vast knowledge over this dimension? Who is he? And why have they never seen him up until this point? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he friend or is he foe? Find out in the next episode of Bosses What Ifs. On a side note, do me a big solid. Go to my Instagram, God_DK. It should be in the description. If it's not, please just do it. It helps me out because I'll see y'all follow me. Y'all will talk to me about what ifs. Y'all can actually hit me up. We can just hold a mean conversation. So yeah, please do that. But with that out of the way, let's do this one more game. Charles and DK were at a loss here. They knew this dude might have been trouble, but nonetheless, they needed a way out. They ran out of materials fighting the end dragon. They used all their resources, maliciously scared, tired and bruised and battered, barely able to defeat the beast, barely having a diamond sword, but that broke during a fight. So they asked this dude for aid, and everything comes with a price, especially here. So he says simple, I'll help you, but I need y'all to help me. They look with suspicion. What could you possibly need help with? He says simply, I want to build a pyramid. They say with confusion, I want to build a pyramid. A pyramid. It'll be a great design. So, long story short, they eventually traveled back with this man. He knew the way out. He knew how to get out. They did, but they were struggling to find the way out. After they traveled back, they eventually flew back. And when I say flew back, nonetheless, this dude had a system, a roller coaster of some caliber, to actually aid him in his endeavors. So they fast traveled almost, in a sense. With this fast travel being put in place and everything going smoothly, they eventually made it back. Smoothly and soundly. They were... I'm getting distracted. Please give me like 3 seconds, guys. They made it back. And they did what they needed to do. So they kept it moving. They scurried off. Then they made it to the village and they realized something. These people are confused. He looks around seeing villagers trapped in their own houses, encaged. He's confuzzled. Why would he do this to people? He looks at the animals and sees them bunched up in weird contraptions. The second they grow of height, they die and be burnt in and be turned into food. He's confused. Is this wrong? Is this right? And then Lord, or James as we'll call him, says, don't worry. They're just food. They're livestock. They don't even speak the same language as us. Charles rebuttals. So what? Just because they don't speak the same language as us, that means that they don't deserve freedom? He says simply, if they were left to their own devices, he looks both of us in the eye with sharpness. They would die. They're not able to defend and survive on their own. So, what is wrong with me having them in this situation? Because they'll live. And they'll live, maybe not comfortably, but they'll live, they'll survive, and they'll thrive. Because without me, when it turns night, one of them get affected. We know that they're the highest at risk when zombies come through, because they can get infected. Plus, they're entitled and thankful to me, because I've saved numerous amounts of them from zombies. I've cured them with remedies. DK and Charles shocked, because they've known in their attempts and their journeys that they've never been able to turn a zombie or a village zombie back into a villager. This is preposterous. This is ludicrous. But they thought, they remember they read some lore about this. They remember something about this. It sounds familiar. It sounds like the truth. But no matter. They realize this dude couldn't be all evil because he's not wrong. They've lost many villagers due to their own stupidity, walking off mountains, going into lava. So maybe, just maybe, he might have a point. But they don't ponder this. They don't question this. They do the task. They help him with what he needs help with. And it works out smoothly. He gives them supplies. They work. It wasn't actually bad. They didn't have to worry about food. Everything was smooth. Everything was organized. But nonetheless, they realized they needed to go. They didn't feel like they should stay any longer. And James always said one thing and one thing only: self-sufficientness and efficiency. Efficiency is the rule of the game. This is all a game. DK and Charles was shook into the core because on a level, they knew this might not be real. It just might be a game. As they walked back and scurried back, Charles saw a couple of books. He said, "Am I allowed to take these?" James scoffs and says, "Sure." Hands him as what he calls a god pole. He says, Here, my child, take it." With this immense power, Charles knew he can fish. He was never a big fan of fish, but he decided to take his fancy in it, wondering what he could find. And James told him this is equipped with special intentions. They actually learned a lot about an item called redstone. It's the equivalent of electricity in this domain. But electricity, they learned about that. They learned about fishing. Well, not DK, mainly Charles. DK focused more on the fighting aspect. He wanted to learn more about armory and all that stuff. Charles had a tendency to be forgetful, but he was always serious, kinda. But that's enough of this. Let's talk more on the next part. If y'all enjoyed, like the video. Give me what I give you. If you think I'm worth a like, thank you. If you don't, tell me why. Until we meet again on the next What If. Last time on Bosses, What Ifs, DK and Charles met a unique individual, slightly scared, slightly curious. They actually aid this dude in the need or in the needing of help. So they got aid from this said individual. They questioned his methods, but at the end of the day, you cannot deny that his methods were effective, efficient, and ready. This being said, they learned a lot from this man. Charles picked up a couple new skills, while DK learned a few extra little bits of things. But this is where the flashback's about to end and where things get a little gruesome. As they're heading back, DK didn't bring his dog on the adventure. Charles actually was able to have his horse with him somehow. Even Charles was slightly confused, but his horse and dog was very loyal. And this is where things turn for the worst. As they were traveling back with minimum supplies, but what was necessary, they had more food than they needed. More food than carried? Not entirely. But they did fall into a ravine, a cave system, as you may say. But as they fell, it was okay, right? They didn't die. They had good armor, so they were protected. But Jumper, Charles' horse, didn't make the fall. Charles was riding the horse and it fell. And all you could hear is the noise of the horse dying. Charles broken and booted and crying. My horse, my horse. We've had better horses. We have better horses at home. Horses that can jump twice as high. Horses that are twice as fast. Horses that have better health that would have survived the fall. But this horse was special to Charles. He found this horse in the wild after some zombies were trying to eat it. He felt a connection to this horse. DK, knowing how Charles feels about the horse, but couldn't utter a single word due to the severity of the situation. No, he couldn't just say, get over it. So he led his friend to his own devices. Eventually, they were able to keep it moving and fight off all the monsters that spawned. They found an abandoned mine shaft and was able to get some good materials from it and get loot. So eventually, it was able to make it to the surface. But by the time they did, a few nights had passed. And it was darker than any other night. No torch for many mile radius. But they knew they were close to their house, using their navigation. Using their map system. And their compasses. They were able to realize where they was and how to get to where they needed to be. But there was one problem. There were skeletons. Zombies, spiders, creepers, endermen. Everywhere. Don't get me wrong, they had equipment, they had goodies. But to fight all these off at once wasn't an easy task. Charles was shot by a skeleton, quicker than he could react to, but his armor protected him. He used his shield to block a skeleton and a zombie from behind him while DK fights off a herd, and this is where DK jumping fest begins. 5 creepers behind him. Why is it always 5? Who knows? Because I'm telling the story and I'm freestyling a little bit. 5 creepers come up. DK knows he's gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. This will take some damage. But he immediately puts up his shield, puts down some buckets of water, protects himself from most of the damage, but he still gets knocked back into a tree. Meanwhile, Charles is still trying to fight. He's still fighting off, but with his dog, he's able to keep off some of the skeletons. So the skeletons are coming, but the creepers are coming. The zombies and spiders are still coming at him. He's able to fight it off and get good loot, and they're doing it. They're running towards the house. They're making it. They're getting closer and closer and closer. But then the dog is so far from Charles that the skeletons don't care. They came in and trying to hurt Charles, and they hit him. 3 of them. But his dog, with his eyes turning red, became malicious. He didn't speak, but his body language said, "I've had enough of you hurting my master." And so he lashed out in a red fury, his eyes glowing red, his teeth growing sharper. And he attacked, he bit, and he fought, saving Charles' life. But by the time Charles was able to catch up to him, the last skeleton that was there was able to get one good hit on the dog. And the dog didn't make it. So that's when Fluffy died. Charles, filled with rage and filled with anger, killed everything within a mild radius. They didn't have to worry about making it home safely. Charles was filled with so much rage, he killed everything. He destroyed everything. Explosions, lava buckets, everything was destroyed. Everything was lit. Everything was malicious. And when I say everything was lit, I mean as in the sense of the lava, the light, all of it. With this being said, Charles said, "Never again." Charles said, "Never, ever again will this happen." So he read all the books about fishing and all the things he needed to know. And he looked up mass amount of knowledge about tritons and anything that had to do with underwater. And that's what he did with his spare time. He still is forgetful. He still is jokeful. But he's a lot more serious and determined. Yeah. And that's where the flashback ends. As DK realizes he's made it to Lord James' house.
Last time on Bosses, What Ifs, we discussed and found out more about Charles, DK, and Lord James' relationships. But now, with the Deku trapped in the Nether, with Charles and DK scurrying off to find an unknown individual, what will happen? And now that DK has arrived to Lord James, how will this play out? Find out on this episode of What If Deku Was in Minecraft / had the Quirk. Yeah, I messed up on the intro, fuck it. We're pretty much gonna pop this bad boy off where we left it out the last time, baby. So, DK arrives at Lord James's base. Seeing how it hasn't changed much, besides the size has been increased tenfold. Yeah, it's been increased. So with that being said, DK's like, alright, cool beans. He sees the villagers entrapped. He sees the onslaught and infinite number of cows and pigs, knowing that's some health violations. But nonetheless, he keeps it moving. He says,
I need a little help. Lord James comes out to greet him. Hello, it is I. With that being said, Deku's like, not Deku. DK's like, alright, I got some people trapped in the nether. No, you got a nether portal. Can you give me some materials? Give me some goodies. I'll go grab them real quick. We'll be on our merry way. Everything all good and dandy. He's like, see, yeah, about that. I was doing some tinkering with some redstone, and I was also working on enclosing the last specimen for my display center. And there was a bit of a charge, like explosive. Alright, look, man. A charge creeper blew up the place. Okay, so yeah, and it was kind of close to where my portal was. So I'm right now in kind of the process of fixing it. So yeah. Okay, well, can you give me the looty loot? Can you give me something to ignite it? No. Why not? Did you not hear what you said? You said, can I give you? This implies free. This implies no trade of equal exchange, like it's some Full Metal Alchemist. What is Full Metal Alchemist? Don't worry about it. Multiverse and reference. Anyways, look, what are you gonna do for me? What could you possibly need help with? You remember that pyramid I had y'all built all those years ago? Yes, DK says, slightly scared. Follow me. James walks accordingly, presses a button, and boom! They're 30 feet lower than what they were. Presses another button. They're moving around. Throws some zombie flesh down on the ground. A damn door opens. And then boom, it happens. They're in the pyramid, which oddly looks different than what they made it. It's uniquely lit. He's like, what is this about? James with the sinister smile. I'm almost done conquering this world. I'm almost done. There's one more thing I must slay. And as you can see, I have everything I need here. I have fire. He points to his armor stand. I have a fireproof set of armor there. I also have my weapons here. Points to a wall of weapons. Points to the ground being lava. Wait a minute. DK realizing what's really going on. You don't mean you're gonna summon that? Yes. I already got 2 heads. I just need one more. DK thinks if they're in the nether, I wonder if they could get it. Nonetheless, anyways. Okay, so yeah. Alright. What if they have collected, DK is referring to Charles and Deku. What if they got it, okay? What if they have it? What if they might have found one? This is true, but the likelihood of them actually surviving after being trapped for so long, negligible at best. So what, you want me to find you one? Yes, preferably you might have one just lying around in that inventory. No, I don't. I don't. Well, that's tough. I got this plan all readied out and everything's looking good. You don't got what I want. Is there anything else? Yes, 30 diamonds, and I'll give you the flint and steel you desire. DK really about to lose his temper and wants to lash out, but knowing he's not in the condition to fight anyone. Okay. How about I show you something else you might not know? James, looking puzzled. DK pulls out the glowstone he's been having for such an occasion. He was going to save this to show Deku. Puts it in a unique structure. Gets a bucket of water. Splashes it with the bucket of water. Perfect. Weather. No. Heaven. This is the opposite corresponding to the nether. Heaven. James looks slightly appalled or curious by this assessment. That was never a thing. Oh, it wasn't. But recently, due to the world doing that weird thing where it goes black and reappears, some new things have come. James, what type of materials or suit would I need for said world? Well, what's the opposite of water? I mean, I said that so wrong. I meant to say lava, guys. What's the opposite of lava? Water. So yes, you would need a good slew of water things. And be very careful because water is very dangerous. So aqua affinity. And turtle him, is what you're saying. Yes, exactly. Before DK could utter another word, James grabs him, throws him into a hole. James also jumps into a hole right next to him. James presses a button and boom. They're immediately in armor equipped for killing water mobs of all caliber. And then before DK, I'm sorry, getting the names mixed up, DK was able to either breathe, he immediately got thrown in the portal, waited, James did, drunk a potion of not invisibility, but a potion of night vision, and jumps into the portal. And thus, they've entered to a whole new world. Heaven. Last time on Bosses, what if? DK finally made it to James, but proving very unfruitful, as in James is having demands that are far out of DK's expectations. But what will Lord James do? Finding out about this new dimension and this new information in these new items. How will he go about this? And what will happen to DK? And what is going on with Charles and Deku? And are they even still alive? Find out on this episode of Bosses What Ifs. As they stumble around, seeing water flow from every crevice and Mad's amount of ocean, but only 3 blocks deep, they look around the surrounding and is immediately attacked by what seems to be a bird of some sort, but the bird isn't flying, it seems like it's swimming. It attacks them maliciously and quickly, faster than what any of them can do. They both react in time. DK grabs his flyer bow, and does some nice damage. And unique drops come from these individuals. Unique potions. Things they've never seen before. They continue slaying and fighting as if they were brothers in arms. They fought and fought all the way until they met one thing. One thing very malicious. Stood very tall and very menacing. They realized that mama didn't raise no bitch. And they took up arms. And they folded that thing maliciously, but oh, was it not easy. After they did things, James realized something. All these drops, all these loot. This would be a good place to come back to. They spent a few days in there. But nonetheless, they realized they need to get out. It's hard to breathe. It's too much. The air pressure is different here. It's just too much pressure, even for Lord James. And so then they both scurry back to their main thing. But before they could do it, a large pressurized water shoots out from one of the individuals, the mobs as they are called in this world. But before that could happen, James and DK, without even hesitating, throwing James up into the air, and DK grabbing his bow, aims it at the mob and shoots him. James immediately throws his shield with everything he got set, deck the mob behind the mob. And then as the portal is about to get shot, DK runs, trying to slide in. He's like, he made it. And then it blows up. With DK being nearby, but submerged underwater, who knows how deep, eventually made it up to the surface. And then realized he's plumped down in the middle of James's base, realizing that James isn't here to stop him. So he would have made another portal, but he barely got the materials to make that, and to make that, he has to go to the nether. And why am I always the one able to get out? He questions. But nonetheless, he grabs all the supplies he can and leaves a note saying, "I'll be back, BRB, Oyewan," and runs off. But before he does so, he decides to do a taboo in this world and dig straight down. So with some time and with some effort, and stealing a couple more items, he was able to find 20 rare emeralds known as diamonds. Diamonds, but come on, you gotta add a little extra to it. Diamonds. And with this being said, he left. And then, with all these materials, he was also able to finally find something to reignite the flames that needed to be relit. And also, there was one thing he realized. Hero Brian was right behind him. And before DK could react, he was hit up. And since he was already near the surface, he's got to hit up to the surface. So him and Hero Brian are duking, get out. And he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I am the hero." And when one swing of his sword, lightning strikes come out from everywhere. DK was barely able to dodge it, but at least he notes to himself that at least he's not getting jumped this time. And then second, he said that 2 zombies from his left side come, and then 2 skeletons come from another side. And then he realized he's eventually surrounded by all these mobs. The lightning strike wasn't aimed at him, it was aimed to draw in mobs. And then he realized something. He's not getting jumped by 5 people. He's getting jumped by 10 people. And so he's fighting off all these mobs without any hesitation, without any problem, due to the wonderful, wonderful enchantment armor that James was so willingly able to give him. And with that being said, it happened. Hero Brian strikes, cutting him into ribbons, but not enough to kill or damage him severely. Later, he realized he was near something because he saw a witch off in the distance. But DK did realize it was getting dark soon, and he needed to see. So he took one of the night vision potions that was given to him with the armor set, drank it, and he's able to see just as if it was daytime. So with that being said, he's running. Then he realized there's a Willard mansion right in front of him. But without any hesitation, because Hero Brian's near him, he runs into the mansion, killing and dismantling most of the people in there. Not easy, but he did with it. He was able to do that without taking much damage. Hero Brian destroyed and burnt the house without even so much as a sword swing. It was really like 3, but the house slowly burned as DK was able to realize, I am messing so up today. God damn. Okay, but as DK was able to realize he was in a jungle, so he needed to move. So he was climbing, jumping from T to T. All Hero Brian was doing was burning the forest. But then, off in the distance, he saw something flying. He saw the Lord James, self-proclaimed, in the game. Yeah, we're gonna keep this going. Hit the beat. No, I'm playing. And then he realized something. That's James, and why does his sword look like that? And then before anything else was said, he said, "Oh, I'm back, bitches." He comes down with this new sword, long sword if you may. slicing and cutting at Herobrine, actually doing damage. And he's like, huh? Because DK was slicing at him and barely was able to nick him. And then James was like, yeah, I wasn't able to be in that place for too long, but yeah, I had some safety precautions. Don't ask me what I did. Anywho, pulls out sword. Why do you look like you're younger? Apparently that place has like weird timing and the time gets distorted there. So yeah, I lost a couple years, but that's actually a good thing. That means I have longer to be younger. Wait a minute. If that place takes away years, what does the Nether do? But before that thought could actually get through and process, they're in the middle of the process of fighting the Herobrine. With the James and DK, they were able to put some good work and good hits on him. And daytime was slowly coming back, but nonetheless, they were getting thrashed, and their armor and everything was battered and bruised beyond all measure. In the moment, I mean the moment, they thought it was all over. They thought it was done. They see two figures, one shorter than the other. One skin is dark and chocolatey as ever, while another one, not with as much of a cinnamon roll face, but oh, was he there? With fire ringing around one of them and a green purplish tint around the other one. They walk in and laugh. So you guys are struggling with a Herobrine. We can't beat Mans, but maybe we can help. As Charles and DK. As Charles and Deku enter the fray, a new challenger has approached. With the DK, James, battered and bruised, Charles and Deku on the ground bleeding, with no hope. Charles remembers something. How did this happen? Where did it all go wrong? Find out on this episode of Bosses What Is. Alright, so Charles and Deku came back with the help, with the quickness. So they were stronger than James, and James was stronger than DK. So they're like, alright, bet, hot dog and a biscuit. We're chilling. We're good. We got backup. The Herobrine looks around. So I have more people to play with. With everyone shook to their core. They thought he couldn't speak. They thought he didn't know how to speak. And he says, I guess I should probably actually try now. In that moment, when they heard that, they were scared. Herobrine puts his sword down. Cracks both of his necks. Cracks his neck. And then armor appears. But this armor was different. This armor was unique. It was, instead of purple, it had a different color of an enchantment. And then James with quickness said, no. Oh no, this makes more sense. I've seen people with this type of armor. GK looking baffled. Huh? Well, you probably would have seen it too if he wasn't being a little bitch and ran away. Rip. I know you're not talking about when we was in that weird dimension. Oh, by the way, that weird dimension, James quotes, is actually called the ether. Not the ether, the I've messed up on the pronunciation. I'm not even gonna cap to y'all guys. I gotta figure out what the pronunciation, but it's something like the ether. Anyways, back to the story. He's like, okay. During my brief time there, we actually need a certain potion to take before going back in there. So while Herobrine's, I guess, powering up, Deku and Charles is like, here, y'all might need to drink these 2 potions. He's like, why? I don't know, Charles. What's the plan? You said you had one. Huh? Deku's slightly scared. You said you had a. You said you had a plan, Charles. See about that. I kind of forgot. DK with the rage boiling deep down in his soul. I know. After all this time, you still. Okay. Not a big deal. So what are we gonna do about that? They look back. Dude has not even purple armor, not even netherrock armor. It's a whole new type of class of armory. Instead of just a sword, he has this weird sword that seems like it's a, excuse the pun, but a lightsaber. And James is like, we might want to run. Wait, why is that? Look at the surrounding area. The surrounding area is getting eviscerated, as almost if he's deleting the world itself. Everyone's like, oh, looks at Deku and Charles. So, I got any special power boost? Deku and Charles look at each other. Looks at here, right? Let's get it. And as soon as you would think, they go at it, they go stupid, they go crazy. They're like 40 mans. Everything's working out. DK is a little less fearful. James comes in there with a couple good hits himself. DK keeps throwing it with his bows. I'm doing it. And this is where James loses an arm. Here, Brian swiftly moves around and starts cutting and swinging. And James got a step too close and lost his left arm. Everyone actually looking goofy and looking shocked, did not know what to do. He was able to stop the bleeding in time, but yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. And then DK got maliciously plopped onto the ground after getting hit with a thunderous kick to the chin. And then it just left Deku and Charles. So they were throwing some good hits, They were hitting him with combos, and Brian's like, yeah, no. I am the god of this world. Or, with his eyes glowing a darkish, devilish red, the devil of this world. And then with 2 solid movements of the step of a sword, eviscerated Deku and Charles. Charles is now on the ground bleeding, gasping for air, while Deku's looking goofy, doesn't know what to do. And then Charles, for whatever reason, maybe, the whole dying thing, remembered something. Oh yeah, that was the game plan. Hey, Deku, I remember now. And so, yeah, he told Deku to get this. So, Deku did such. Make the portal and make it now. So, with that, he made the portal to the Ether. And this is the place DK and James went to. But the difference is, when you take the potion, you're actually able to see what the world really has to offer. Because when DK and James went there, they didn't have the potion, so they were unable to fully see everything that was truly there. It was more of a passive world, so it didn't have too many goodies. Now, don't get me wrong, though. They have some mobs there, but not like this. Not like this at all. So he made the portal. But now the real question is, how the hell do they get with the quickness? DK grabs James by the ankles and do a hoo-ha. Fishing hook. He said, this one's for my boy Charles. And then Charles screams off in the distance, I'm not dead yet, you batch. Yeah, no, like that, like your bitch, like not bitch, but like your bitch. You know what I mean? And so then he throws his arm in there too, runs around, throws a couple of bows at your Ryan Deku buddy, get the dude that's bleeding on the ground now. Come on. He's like, why don't you? If I jump in the portal, literally the only thing that's gonna happen is y'all are gonna get trapped on the other side, and me and James is gonna be screwed. I'm not playing these games. I'm gonna be the last one in the portal. All right. Deku remembering the last time he was the first one to get out. Also, some of the context clues of what happened. Basically, it would just be a flashback of each time DK ran through a portal and they got destroyed. He's like, I'm realizing there's a trend here. And so with the quickness, Deku grabs Charles by the breeches and just yeets him up into the portal. Even though Charles had the supplies for this and apparently must have forgotten about this when they were trapped in the nether, but Deku worried about that momentarily. Jumps through. So he's like, all right. Looks at Herobrine. Herobrine looks at him. So, kind of far from that portal, you wanna just let me go through? Yeah, sure. DK walks to the portal. Slightly scared because he knows him and his luck with portals have never been that good. So he's like, just gonna slowly walks to portal. She's gonna go through here, alright? No problem. We're good. It's like, yeah. Doesn't mean I won't follow you. You, sir, have a wonderful point. Rubs a patch of grass. With a single tear. DK knows what he's gotta do. Grabs a flint and steel. Touches the patch of grass. But it wasn't a patch of grass, it was TNT. Sorry about the camera's not focusing. And then with the portal blown up, the boys in the other world. Let's just go over there and see how they're doing. No one can come out now. The portal's been destroyed for the 100th time. James on the ground, pretty much exhausted, battered and bruised with a missing arm. Charles still bleeding and maliciously crying out for his old horse named Jumpy. Poor Jumpy. Deku, for whatever reason, might be suffering some side effects from the potion and is unable to see. And DK is the only person that's up when he looks around and sees some new mobs you've never seen before. Yeah, that happened. They're screwed. Last time, bosses, what if? Charles and Deku came through to help, but they got folded too. James lost an arm. DK had to destroy a portal. It almost seems like this is a trend or something, or trope, who knows. But the heroes, or the survivors, they're in another world. Not another world, but the ether. The aether. There we go. They're trying to survive, and everyone's all critical, injured, and booted and brass. The only people that are in walking or living condition is Deku and Charles. Deku and DK. I will mess that up. And so, let's see. What do these individuals do now? And how do they get out? Can they get out? Or will they die? Find out in this episode of Bosses, What Ifs. Hello, it is I, The one that tells the what ifs. All right, buckos, let's get it. Okay, so everyone is not in the best condition. The only people that are in living and moving condition is DK and Deku. But they do have a potion that transfers pain and damage, battle damage. So they're like, oh, okay. It was mixed in with that one potion that they Deku had everyone, Deku and Charizard, but Deku had everyone to drink. And so with this being said, before anyone knew, DK felt amazing. He was good. He was like, I feel like a new man. And then he realized something. Everybody on the floor was bleeding. He was like, he's like, he looks at Deku. Deku, look, buddy. Deku, no, B, you got it, dog. You got it. So they're in critical condition, but they'll pull through. So basically, their condition of all of them are not able to move. Basically useless as of right now. He's just like, why? Dick was like, bro, I just came back from being in a dimension for who knows how long. And I am tired. I'm tired. And then when I finally do get out somehow, I can't even say how I got out yet because that part of the story hasn't been made. We haven't even had a flashback for that. I come back and I get folded. Charles got the worst end of it, but I got dropped kicked, bro. You got it, bro. I'm just gonna sit here and thrive and cry in this pain, okay? Because Charles is over there passed out, and James is sitting there frantically trying to figure out how to get his arm back. Okay. And I'm losing consciousness. DK sitting there looking goofy. Okay. All right. He takes their armor off since they actually technically have some decent armor. He eventually figures out a way to blend it together, but he realized something. He's like, wait, huh? All that armor dissipates. He's like, wait, no, come back, come. Oh no. And then he realized something. This dimension might play by different rules. All right, I'm looking goofy. Okay. That's all you heard from him. So he went around exploring. He broke down some blocks and put up like a little shack made out of dirt. And he's like, looks at all their bodies, make sure he tucks James's arm right next to him. He can feel it. He knows he's gonna get jumped soon. But I digress. So while everyone's knocked out and just useless, DK's like, all right, I got this. No problem. It can work. It's light work. Easy. And so he goes about his day. And he is traveling. And he takes care of some bosses here. Like he gets some work done in. Like, listen. So he figures out that, and I'm not gonna go too much in detail with this because, like, I might say something and then I might mess up on something in the future. But I'll keep it very vague. But he realizes that tools don't work the same way as it did in the original dimension they was in. With this being said, he's like, all right. So he realizes some things are backwards here. He's able to make him some base armor. And then he's like, all right, hot dog and a biscuit. after going to this weird looking dungeon place, he's like, alright, what's over in this neck of the woods? Let's get it. And he realized something. He found a book, and this book kind of gives him a rundown of some of the stuff that how things work around here. He's like, yeah, let's get it, boy. And so he's taking all these things and killing these people, and he's like, all right, I got 10 of these items. Red stone, okay, but it's not red stone like he knows. He's like, whatever. He puts them all in one spot, and he's like, all right, yeah, I should get something, right? Oh, he got something, all right. Then it happened. A giant square appeared, and he's like, man, nobody's scared of no damn square. And immediately he says that, he gets smacked into a wall, looking goofy, and all you hear is, oh, just shocked in pain, and bleeding everywhere. And then he gets back up and is like, all right. So he pulls out a little sword he made. He said, man, I've been waiting to do this. I've been needing to take out my frustrations on something. And looking goofy as ever, he tried to go for a swing, but the sword had no effect. DK's like, come again? Huh? So he was just sitting there, and it damaged it, but it didn't do no damage, like less than 0.1 damage. And he's like, pulls out one of his stone items, his stone pickaxe. I'm gonna do it. And then he started like beating the malicious crap out of this boss. And he's like, all right, I'm doing things. He got a special golden item. He's like, all right, that's what I'm talking about, baby. So after taking care of like one of these first bosses, he's feeling pretty confident. You know, he was able to gather some healing supplies, and he was able to, you know, make a little base, a little homie home. So with all this being said, he eventually travels back to his people, and then you see some of the mobs, and he realized something. These dudes got wings. So I wonder, with the luckiness of luck, he somehow was able to find a saddle, grabbed the pig. It was a little bit of effort, but he grabbed the pig, and he was able to actually fly the pig. So he's like, if anything is known to be true, has a flashback to Charles. This was Jumpy 1.0 before he had the horse. He was like, yeah, Charles did have a piggy pig for a little while. Good times. Good time, he says. Very, very angry. He's like, all right. So he used the saddle and he was able to fly around, making things a lot easier. Plus, there was this weird bunny. When the bunny was on his head, he was able to jump. So he paired these up and were able to travel relatively decent distances. And he was also able to, you know, not fall off and die, presumably. And he made it back to his people, and he got them and straddled them up on. He was only able to take one person at a time. So first he took Deku, since he was the last to pass out, and traveled that way. And then, yeah, he got this dude, and he got Charles too. He's got to come back for James. Not a big deal. So he's going about his merry way. He makes it halfway, and he's got to stop to eat because he's understandably hungry from doing all of this and hasn't really taken much time out to have a proper meal. It started to rain, and normally when it rains, just a little water. Maybe you might see a couple mods, but you know how I said he got the animals and cows and pigs and stuff, but the difference is they have wings and they're different color. So their behaviors are slightly different. About that. It doesn't rain often, but when it does do rain, the mods that are peaceful, don't hurt you. They get very aggressive and start trying to kill anything and everything. So with this being said, he was tending to them and everything was good. And then, he went back to go grab Charles real quick because he had to make sure they couldn't get out. And plus, he needed to kill some of them to get food. So by the time he get Charles and come back, he realized something. They're standing on two, and they're not looking too happy. So with the mean aggression, they're all looking at him, and they surround him, and he's just like, I knew it. I knew I was gonna get jumped. And DK also did realize something. More as a little jokey joke to himself, because who would really know? He left a rabbit with a wabbit, with James, He's like, let's be the cutesy cutes. He thought about what he just did to James and realized that James most likely is dead, and he's getting jumped by what appears to be some super cows and some super pigs that have two swords in their hands. And everyone's unconscious, and he's the only person. So, what will happen on the next episode? Why does he keep getting jumped? And will these guys wake the last time on What If Deku had a Minecraft Quirk? DK was not in a lucrative situation. He was not doing good. Alright. James was left alone with a little old rabbit. Meanwhile, as usual, as the trope goes, DK was getting jumped with the malicious, with aggression, with the smoke, needing to protect Charles and Deku, and needing to keep everyone safe. He realized he had to fight. But we're not going to talk about him. We're going to go over to another individual. James. Lord James. Who knows? Let's see what's happening on his end. That rabbit stands up, looking not so little and not looking like a wabbit. More like Daddy Rabbit, but that's a whole nother episode. And the rabbit does go in for a swiping. Rips James' heart out. But unknown to us, he had a totem of undying in his inventory. So he lived. And with this moment, all his health regenerated. Not all of it, just enough to keep him alive. And he stood too. He stood tall. He saw this, what appeared to be a demon rabbit with wings. And he ran towards the chest with the quickness of God himself. He saw a pickaxe of some caliber and said, fuck it. And just started swinging and chopped his head off. So James is now in a world unknown to himself. But with DK's forethought, planning, he said, just in case somebody does wake up, he was able to make some signs and stuff. So James eventually led over to it. And James walked forward, and unbeknownst to the audience, James does not have what we would consider good luck. So James ran, shot a couple, shooting some arrows, which, to our surprise, he had just enough time. Very resourceful, very crafty. He was able to find some form of makeshift arrows in this new world and able to help out. To DK's utter shock and surprise, he's like, how? I put two and two together. And before they could talk and reunite, as DK is slaying the herd, he finished. And he was good. Everyone's chilling. It's all right. So James slowly walks up, but he stepped an inch too far, and DK didn't get a chance to explain the rules of the world. And he fell off. And him and James made eye contact as he fell. There were no bunnies because he had to kill them all. The rain just stopped. Floor was slippery, didn't have much traction, and he watched James fall to what is his death. Oh. I see. So we're a man down, and a stroke of luck happened. Charles and Deku have reawakened. Thank God to all those healing potions and force feeding them some of those demon animals, but we don't talk about that. So after a good amount of fought battles and stuff that happened off screen, because I'm not gonna go into it because I don't know too much about the ether. They eventually were trying to scheme and figure out their way out, but Charles was supposed to make a bridge. He forgot. So Deku and DK ran with the speed of God. All right, let's get out of here. The map says we need to go here, and when they stepped over, they realized something. They're not walking anymore. As they plummet down, Charles is like, and DK and Deku fall, and they're looking at each other like, damn, we just got rolled up. Dang, well, we had a good run, didn't we? It is what it is. They blinked. Everything was dark. And they blinked again. And they just saw an ocean. Some sand, a desert over there, a forest over there. And as they were falling, they realized something. They're back in the actual world. They're alive. They scream, James is alive. They're like, hoorah! But there's a problem. One, Charles is all by himself in a place he's semi-familiar with. And they're falling from maximum height. And you know how I said there was an ocean? More like a pond. So they're falling pretty high. They're about to die. But unbeknownst to them, they see a figure off in the distance. They see a contraption. They're like, what is that? They get shot. Both of them get shot maliciously with something. And they're like, But when that happens, they immediately realize they're not falling nearly as fast as they were previously. They're like... And then DK put a sinister grin. I don't know how he did it, but that bastard did it. I know this taste anywhere. This smell, this aura. This is a slow falling potion. Deku looking kinda goofy. Don't know. It's impossible. See somebody with Electri flying through with fireworks in his hand. Just looking. Hey guys. Well, it's simple. I did a calculation. So if you do the formula... Nope. I'm just going to keep falling. Not going to be stressed out. So DK here gets to the ground so she doesn't, die. And Deku and James talked about how he, used reasoning, deducting, and math and stuff to take a high probable chance or something to figure out how we were going to be there. It went over DK's head. He was like, they got it. They got it. I'm just trying to get to the ground. And I could say what happened next, but I'm gonna propose a question to all you people that do view it, okay? This is a serious question because I can do it two ways. And it's kind of iffy on the views that I get on this, all right? Do the servers crash? Or do James, Deku, and DK plot and scheme and figure out a way to help Charles get back or communicate to him of some caliber? Because we also got to take into account that they haven't beat the Ender. I mean, they haven't beat the End Dragon. They still have things they can accomplish. But what if they've done too much and caused too much destruction that the server crashes? So I'll be productive and put a poll saying the server crash or they plot and figure out how to get their homie back. Or, you know, something else y'all might, I don't know, y'all can comment another one I haven't put. Alright? So that's how we're going to do this. Catch y'all later.